Hi, my name is Michelle Fitzgerald with the Senzar Learning Center, and sitting with me right here is my cat Kid, and I'm going to show you Kid so you can get a good look at him, because today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about using what I call directed intuition to empower yourself, to help yourself, and to help others. And the I'm going to tell you a story today that involves Kid and helping Kid out with the use of my directed intuition. So that's Kid, and I'll encourage him to get down so he's not distracting during the video. Anyway, what is directed intuition? We'll start with that. What is that? Directed intuition is literally intuition on command. And it becomes very useful if it's highly accurate intuition, that the reads you're getting are very, very accurate, and applied to things that can be useful. Directed intuition, when you can just on command get intuitive feedback to rapidly evaluate situations properly, to make decisions properly, and quickly and effectively, that's very, very powerful to be able to do that. In everyday mundane situations and in emergency situations. I'm going to talk to you today about an emergency situation with Kid and how directed intuition actually, I'm very sure, saved Kid's life in the last week. So it can be very, very valuable. Directed intuition can also help you do things like call in your intuitive abilities or open them up so you can sense subtle energies in the environment, beneficial and non-beneficial. Often there are non-beneficial energies in the environment that can cause very, very serious problems, health-wise, mentally, emotionally, that type of thing. So that's another way that you might be able to utilize directed intuition. I use directed intuition many, many times a day, every day in my life. My life is a life that is filled and navigated with intuitive assistance. I can't imagine walking through life at this point in my life without being able to have intuition on command. I've figured out so many ways, I mean hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of ways to make it useful to me in practical ways. So today I'm going to share one example of that, and it's the story of Kid and something that happened to him just this past week. And to show you directed intuition in action, so you can get a better idea of how useful it can be to cultivate the kind of skills you're going to see that I pulled up and out to utilize with Kid. Senzar Learning Center is really all about that. I've produced something like 300 and something videos just in the last 4 years on subjects that pretty much you could, torque it down to, it's all about directed intuition. So here you go. Here's a little snapshot of how I use the very stuff I teach. About a week ago, I walked into the kitchen and there was Kid, and he was standing there, and he was weird. It looked like he was going to poop or something. He was kind of hunched over like this. It just wasn't right. And I said, "Are you okay, Kid?" And he had just such stress on his face, and I could instantly intuit that something was wrong with him. I mean, I could see it, but I could also sense as soon as I zoomed in on him that something was really wrong, and instantly intuited that he was in a significant amount of pain. Well, I know how to dowse. If you've watched any of my other videos, you know that I am a professional dowser. I know how to dowse, use muscle testing, and a wide range of other intuitive skills. But in this situation, I use dowsing, and I just in my mind, I've got a chart, -10 to +10, 0 to 10. -10 is degrees of negative effect, basically, or negative condition, and 0 to +10 would be degrees of positive. And I just douse, what's what's the ranking on Kid's current, is he in some kind of health crisis? I got yes, I muscle tested yes. What's the level in effects? What's the effect, or how bad is it? And it was a -10. It dowsed as a -10 health emergency. I quickly then intuited, again, used muscle testing. Am I capable of fixing this energetically? I've seen many situations in human beings and in animals where they can be in a high state of pain, or what appears to be very sick, and in fact it's very physically sick, but in fact it's energetic. It's not something physical, and it can be cleared up pretty quickly. Even physical things, energetic medicine can often be applied and successfully treat the situation by working with the subtle energy realm, things like the aura field, energies in the environment, that type of thing. But this I dowsed was a very, very physical situation. I checked it is a very physical problem that's going on, and I dowsed that I was not capable of, in a timely fashion, fast enough. I couldn't do it fast enough with energy medicine to alleviate, or at all, alleviate what was going on with this cat. And I got that it was a +10, meaning the highest positive score, to get this cat to the vet as quickly as I could. I called my regular vet, who is actually a bit of a distance from my house, but much more affordable. I live in a very, very expensive area, and the local vets are, they're the ones close by are so expensive. But I called my vet in the little town I go to, and he could not get, they were just crammed. They had all kinds of emergencies that day. They couldn't get him in. They said the earliest they could get him in was 1 o'clock the next day. And I'm on the phone with them, and I'm dowsing, and I'm getting, this cat will not last till 1 o'clock tomorrow. I need to get a vet much faster than that. So I thanked him, and I called around. I found another vet that would take him, but they couldn't see him until 2 o'clock that day. But I did get, yes, with intuition, I got absolutely the cat needs a vet. Absolutely the cat needs to see a vet today, or the cat's going to die. And then we just waited. Next, while we're waiting, it was about a 2-hour wait or 3-hour wait, and I just did some more intuitive inquiry to see if there was anything I could do to alleviate the pain or lessen the pain, anything I could do to stack the deck energetically in Kid's favor when he did get to the vet, so whatever is going to be recommended has a chance of working really, really effectively. And I got, yes, there were some things I could do. First thing I saw, I just instantly saw a picture of his auric field, and that there was something wrong with it, and I checked, and it was true. He had all kinds of big cuts in his aura for some reason. And so I know how to patch up things like that, so I patched up his aura. I also got that it would be very therapeutic and helpful in the long-range outcome for this cat to do some immediate color therapy. Now, Kid had then walked, he just kind of hobbled from the kitchen to the living room, and he just, he collapsed on the floor. He was in that much pain, just collapsed on the floor. So I set up my lamp, I took my color chart, and I dowsed what colors would be and in what order should I. It's called tonating. You do a color projection onto the person or onto the animal. All the things that I teach for humans, almost all of them can successfully be applied to animals. And so I have a class on in the video, Sensar Video Vault is where you'll find a really great collection, close to like 90 seminars at this point, just in that one vault collection. And there's a couple of seminars in there called Color Chemistry 1 and Color Chemistry 2. Color Chemistry 2 is all about using the Dinshaw spectrochrome color therapy system, and I know about that system. I've used it for decades on myself to stay healthy. So anyway, that's what I was doing with Kid, and sure enough, I set up the right colors. Within less than, I'm going to say 5-10 minutes, you could just see Kid's whole body relax. The color therapy was definitely making a difference, and the fact that I had patched up his aura. Pain especially can be, in humans and in animals, can be hugely amplified. If the physical situation can be causing the pain, but if they've got aura damage and other major disruption in their energetic matrix, basically, it can so incredibly amplify the pain. I know from my own experiences how significant of a pain reduction you can achieve if you can simply patch up some of the energetics. So you could just see Kid, he just relaxed, he was then much calmer. We went the next couple of hours, and he was he couldn't move, but he felt more comfortable, and it was evident. Got him to the doctor gives him a quick physical exam, finds that he's got in his abdomen area some kind of mass that's about the size, the doctor says, of a small grapefruit. Your mind goes, oh my gosh, this cat has cancer. That's what the doctors think, cat has cancer, and it could be that, could be something else. And it ends up what it was is that Kid's urethra, that little tube where you urinate, it had It had gotten not infected, but irritated, and it closed off, and he couldn't pee basically. And so he had all the urine was backing up into his bladder, and his bladder had swollen up to that level. And the name of this, it's actually a disease that apparently he has developed, and it's called feline idiopathic cystitis. Now, I do a lot of treatments on my animals myself, but I also am very happy to use vets and do use veterinarians from time to time. But one of the things I always do is I always check their diagnosis, because I've had many cases where the vets were off, where no matter how knowledgeable they were and how great their training was, their diagnosis was wrong. And I proceeded to go get second and third opinions and get the correct diagnosis. This guy was right on. This is what is wrong with this cat. And he told me what they were going to need to do, which required some minor medical procedures. He'd have to stay in the hospital for a couple of days, which he did, have to be on antibiotics. And he told me the prognosis was most cats, they don't ever totally recover from this. Sometimes when they get older they do, but 1 in 2 cats has repeat episodes of the same problem. And, you know, they had shown me the quote for what it was going to cost me for the 2 days in the hospital and the minor medical procedures. It was $1,000, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, $1,000, you know, blah, 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 blah. Frequently, that's a lot of money. And I dowsed right there without the doctor knowing. I can do this without even doing muscle testing. Would I be able to, now that I know what's wrong with him, would I be able to intervene with energetic medicine, you know, energetic stuff that I know how to do to prevent a relapse of this condition? I got absolutely 100% likelihood that I could do that. So I felt a little bit calmer than that and said, go ahead, do everything that you need to do with Kid, and I'm sure he's going to be okay. So they did their stuff. The doctor comes out as they take Kid away, and he says, he shows me this 4-page document with all these, everything they know about this particular disease and all the potential causes. The fact is they just really don't know what causes this disease, but they have discovered many things that are often at play in the cat's environment or with the cat's health that lead to these conditions. And 4 pages of information, and one of the things on the page was environmental stress. I looked at all 4 pages and I saw that it's environment. I'm dowsing, in this case just using a type of clairvoyance where you just look at, not really pure dowsing, but looking at what's passing in front of me. And like a spotlight, the thing that's important shows up as like it's highlighted for me. And I could see that the thing that was important for me to pay attention to was environmental stress. They find that a lot of cats that develop this, there's some type of environmental stress that kicks it into an extreme state, like the state Kid had gotten into. Well, I left Kid there, and again, he was going to stay there for a couple of nights. I came home, and I am very familiar with environmental stress. I did space clearing. You know, worked as a professional geomancer for many years, doing evaluating geopathic energies in spaces, electromagnetic energies in spaces, those types of things. So I know a lot about that. And as it happens, my house is in an area where in the last 2 to 3 years there has been such a phenomenal increase of high frequency radiation from, I live in an affluent neighborhood. My neighbors don't just have Wi-Fi, they've got every gadget imaginable. They've got Wi-Fi boosters, they've got everything, and because they can afford it. And anyway, bottom line, I've been having increased difficulty with the strength of the radio frequency transmissions and the number of them that are coming through my house. So I had already started about a year ago doing more aggressive shielding of my space. And I dowsed when I got home, is the environmental stress, you know, I found it hard to believe it could be anything with my other animals or, you know, food or anything like that. But I checked for that. I was open-minded. It wasn't anything like that. And I said, well, is it something, I'm dowsing, is it something that has to do with electromagnetics, like radio frequencies, even with all this shielding I've been doing? Maybe I've caused a problem with all this shielding. And I got that, no, I hadn't caused a problem. Yes, it did have to do with radio frequency stuff or environmental energies, but it wasn't anything that I was currently aware of, which surprised me. So I did a complete rescan of my house, and oh my gosh, what did I find? I found by the way, the areas where kid spends most of his time, that there were these, what I call negatively charged energetic pathways, and I call them grid pathways, and they were at about 4 feet, 8 feet, and 12 feet. I've got big vaulted ceilings, 12 feet above the ground. And they were running these bands of energy, almost like highways, were running right through the space, slicing through the space at those levels like you'd slice through a piece of cake. And they were highly toxic. On my little -10 to +10 chart, they dowsed a -10, not only an impact on kids' health, impact on my health, which is kind of interesting because in the last, I'd say 3 months to 6 months, I've been having an increased degree of difficulty with bladder control. And this is the very thing that was distressed in kid, was his bladder. Right there on the spot I dowsed, is this what's been affecting kid? What agitated his system, so stressed it out that it kicked this cystitis stuff into high gear? The answer was yes, and I dowsed, is this what has been affecting my bladder? And I got yes. So it was I'm sorry all this happened to kid, that he had to go through all that trauma, but it was great because it alerted me to an environmental problem in my space that I didn't even know existed. So anyway, bottom line, I started the repairs on fixing that, and that was that. So already you see all the different ways that I was using intuition to work myself through very quickly this critical emergency situation that could have killed my cat. And in the process, discovering something because of my directed intuition that could have led to long-term health or medical problems with me. Now I'll be able to nip that in the bud. And I'll certainly be able to prevent myself from ending up in any kind of hospital situation. So what else did I do after I got kid home? I dowsed, is there anything else I can do? I'm not willing to pay $1,000 every other week or every other month to have this cat treated. I've got to figure out a way. What can I do to prevent this from happening again? And I got 3 things, and you probably can't see that. Maybe you can see it on the film. But I needed to manage his subtle organizing energy fields. I call them SOEFs, S-O-E-F. For short. These are kind of a template that we show up on, and if these fields get scrambled, it can really make it hard for the immune system of the body to work in top form. So I needed to manage his subtle organizing energy fields. I needed to regularly treat him with color therapy, which I know how to do, and I needed to regularly check. I needed to check the spirit unit, which is the deepest energetic matrix. It's my term for the deepest energetic matrix of his bladder and all elements that connect to the bladder. And sure enough, I found that the deepest energetic, it's almost like an energetic blueprint of kid's bladder, was really not in good shape. So I patched that up, checked his aura again. His aura was fine. I have started him on color therapy, and daily am balancing his subtle organizing energy fields, which only takes about 30 seconds. The energy fields, the color treatments, they take a little longer than that. Eventually I won't have to do them every day, and doing the spirit unit repair, I've done it, and I shouldn't have to do it again, but I will continue to monitor his spirit unit of the bladder and the urethra, those body parts, until I see consistency that whatever was breaking that up isn't breaking it up anymore. Again, started the implementation of the environmental repairs, all of which, by the way, how did I figure out what to do to the environment? I'm not going to go over everything I am doing, but how have I made my decisions on that? Directed intuition. I'm thinking of all the possible things that might fix it, and dowsing, or otherwise intuiting, using clairvoyance or whatever to see what is the right decision, so I don't waste any money doing that. Kid's status is fantastic. It's been 1 week, and you saw the cat. He looks perfectly great. In measuring him on a scale of -10 to +10, his overall condition right now is a +9. So he's moved from -10 to +9. That's how great he's feeling, and he's acting great. He's jumping around, he's playing, he's doing all his normal stuff. His hair has started looking better. Everything about him is back to great shape. The future plan, again, I've already kind of explained, and I'll stay on that track. So this is an example of directed intuition in action. As I said, I use directed intuition every single day. How do you get to a level that you could do something like this, or that you could use directed intuition in simpler ways in your life. I use it mostly for simple things every day, not emergencies like this, but I'm so grateful I have it. I have that skill level for emergencies like this. How do you get to this level? How do you develop the kind of skills that I have? It really is a matter of knowledge. You gotta hang out with people that know what they're doing in regards to this stuff. If you want to do what I do, I'd highly recommend you hang out with me. And you can do that by getting involved more actively with Sensar training programs. Most of the programs have been recorded that I've taught over the years. I mentioned the Sensar Video Vault earlier. It's got right now, I think, upwards to almost 90 excellent video programs. I'm going to show you some of the training programs that, had you been through these programs already, you would have, and practiced with what you learned, you would have been able to do exactly what I did with Kid, just having gone through some of the programs that are in the vault and available to you right now. But knowledge is critically important. But knowledge all by itself is pretty much worthless. You need to get the right knowledge. You can get a lot of that from me. There are other people too, but you can certainly get a lot of the right knowledge for the kind of stuff you just saw me do with my cat from me. I live this stuff. I don't just teach it, because I've read it in a book. I've got decades of experience with directed intuition, helping myself, helping my animals, helping clients, helping family, helping students. I've got a lot of background in this. Knowledge all by itself means nothing. You want to make sure it's the right knowledge, but even if it's the right knowledge, it means nothing unless you can convert it into wisdom. What is wisdom? Wisdom is where you take knowledge and you apply it, the right knowledge, and you apply it frequently enough to get positive results, where you see the knowledge in action, you experience it, and you move from just intellectual knowing to knowing that what you know really does work, that you've applied it, you've honed your skills, applied knowledge, applying the right knowledge consistently, and seeing results, positive results show up regularly is wisdom. That's where it comes from. And that's what wisdom is. And once you achieve that level, you get trust, major trust. And if you want to do the kind of stuff you just saw me do with my cat, you have to really have a great depth of trust in your intuitive capacity. This is how you get it. This is exactly how you get it. So I'm going to wrap this up today by just sharing with you, I mentioned the Sensar Video Vault. What Sensar videos would you have needed to have gone through? What training information would you need to do exactly what I did with Kid? What would you need? Is it available to you? Yes, it is. You'd need the information and say goodbye to fuzzy intuition. In high stress situations especially, you need to know all the tricks for calming down your system and for getting very, very strong coherence in your heart and brainwave patterns. You need to know not only how to draw the intuitive reads, but how to organize, I call it the vessel, in a way that you've got very little friction. So when that information comes in, you get very clear reads. I get really clear reads, and it's because I do everything that I talk about in this program. Say goodbye to fuzzy intuition. Dowsing to find a needle in a haystack. How did I do that bit with the 4 pages of information? And truly it was within less than 30 seconds, I knew exactly what I needed to check as soon as I got home. Out of all those potentials, I knew that fast that the environmental stress flag was the important thing for me to know about. I did what's in this seminar, Dowsing to Find a Needle in a Haystack, which is all about taking anywhere from scores to hundreds to thousands to tens of thousands of bits of information, and within minutes, bringing it down and knowing exactly what the one bit of information is that you need to get the result you're after, to get the solution or make the decision that you're after, the right decision. So that's a powerful seminar. Back to the basics. This is all about stuff like aura repair. I mentioned the spirit unit, subtle organizing energy fields. That's what Back to the Basics is. It's designed for humans, but everything in there would work on a cat or a dog or your bird or whatever. Animal communication. I've got a, I was able to communicate with Kid, and I communicate with all my other animals. I've got a couple of great animal communication seminars that can help you in that regard. Repairing your aura, very specific details. You're introduced to that subject and back to the basics. This is an even more detailed seminar on many ways on how to do that, because there's a vast array of ways that you can do aura repair. So in some situations, one way will be beneficial. In other situations, you'll need other tricks. So this is a nice array of different ways to repair the aura. Color chemistry, I already mentioned. I've got a couple of programs in there on that. 60 Seconds to a New You is all about, in great detail, the subtle organizing energy fields, how they matter to humans, how they matter to pets. Again, if you're someone that's taking any kind of antibiotics, or you're even taking any kind of medication, even sleep aids at night, whatever, you're probably screwing up your subtle organizing energy fields. And by the way, if you're using any of our modern day technology that works with radio waves, meaning your cell phone, your Wi-Fi, your subtle organizing energy fields are getting very jangled every single day. This seminar, 60 Seconds to a New You, will help you organize those when they get out of order every day, because they are getting out of order every day. And this will help you stay in much better shape so that you don't pay the price that you might otherwise end up paying for using all this high technology. And lastly, a seminar, Getting Zapped, would probably be helpful in this case, because you can learn about some of the realities of our electromagnetic environment today and steps you can take to start to make that better. I'm not going to say you're going to learn advanced geomancy in this program or any of my other programs, but these are starting steps. Like, you probably, with these, I guarantee you with these programs, you wouldn't have found those grid pathways, but it's a beginning, and it might cause you to change your questions, your intuitive questions, or certainly ask a professional, because you'd at least be able to detect that there was a problem of some sort, even if you couldn't figure out exactly what it was. So with that, I close for today. This is a great case study of directed intuition in action. If you have pets, I encourage you to learn more about some of these strategies, so you're skilled and you're able, should you, God forbid, ever have an animal emergency of your own, you'll be better equipped to address that, or a human emergency, or again, just your day-to-day life. So thanks for watching. I hope that was helpful, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.